Indiana. And you can see Caitlin saying you were right in front of her. What made you?
This hard-fought win in Seattle was more than just the Indiana Fever's fifth straight. It was a testament to how far this team has come. From inconsistent finishes earlier in the season to now, weathering a 10-1 run on the road and holding their composure under pressure, the growth is undeniable. Sophie Cunningham's fire, Natasha Howard's veteran presence, and Stephanie White's steady leadership all played pivotal roles in proving that this team can battle through adversity without Caitlin Clark and still come out on top. With players like Aaliyah Boston evolving into the backbone of the squad and Dominique Malona showing flashes of her potential, the Fever aren't just winning, they're building something sustainable. This streak isn't just about wins, it's about belief, trust, and a team that's finally learning how to close. And if tonight was any sign, they're only getting started. Ask ChatGPT. Coach Stephanie White's message couldn't be clearer. The Indiana Fever's recent surge in success is no accident. Despite the absence of superstar Caitlin Clark, this team has rallied behind trust, preparation, and unselfish play. With veterans stepping up, young players growing rapidly, and new additions like McDonald's seamlessly fitting into the system, the Fever have shown they're not just surviving, they're thriving. Their improved ball movement, defensive grit, and ability to stay connected through adversity have made them one of the most balanced and dangerous teams in the league. And as Caitlin Clark nears her return, this resilient group is only going to get stronger.
You're kind of part of this jumble in the standings where you're 16-12, Seattle's 16-12, and there's a lot of teams kind of game above, game below. Just how important does it make for this game and this road trip?
I mean, I think that the situation that we're in right now, every game is important. And, you know, every game that we're playing is there's got to be a sense of urgency. At oftentimes in the second half of the season that happens anyway, but certainly the way that things are with the standings and, you know, opportunities to get wins and get tough wins on the road are important. But, you know, we have to take it one game at a time, and we have to be where our feet are, and we got to attack a great Seattle team.
Obviously, you had the travel to deal with, but is there anything you can do game plan-wise to take advantage of them coming off double overtime, 40 hours ago? I mean, I think one of the things that you know, we have a benefit is our depth. So we're just going to continue to bring multiple bodies off the bench, try to wear them down. You know, these players have been playing in this league a long time, and this is not abnormal. The way that the scheduling is and how much they have to play and heavy minutes and all of that. So they're used to this. But you know, for us, it's we've got to try to use our depth to our advantage and try to stay fresh and you know, give them different looks on the defensive end of the floor that can hopefully make it difficult and make them work that much harder after coming off of a double overtime game.
Coach, you guys have had a lot of success, more success than anyone without their star player. How have you guys been able to stick together without having Caitlin on the floor?
I think first and foremost, we got a great group of women. You know, they're team first. They pull for one another. They're selfless and they're capable. And you know, when you have that, it just they've been resilient all year long, and they rally together. They're a connected group, and I think that's really important. And we have capable players. You know, we certainly play a little differently without Caitlin on the floor. But the confidence that each one of these women has gotten in the ability to make plays in big moments, the depth that we have so that you really never can key on one or two players. We've got multiple players that can step up and have big games for us. I think it makes us more balanced on the offensive end. And the versatility that we have defensively has been big for us. And so, you know, I think this group's been resilient. They've come together, you know, they're playing really well together, and they play for each other, and you really can't discount how important that is when you're playing for the person beside you.
Coach, what do you think is the biggest key to the consistent play as of late? You've been 4 games in a row, looking for number 5. What has been that thing?
I mean, I think a couple things. You know, I don't know that I feel like we've been consistent, but you know, being able to consistently string wins together. I think defensively, when we're disruptive, when our attention to detail is high, you know, we make things difficult for opponents. And in those moments where we like last game, for example, have high turnovers, we were still able to get stops, and we've got to be able to continue to be able to do that. Or in the moments where we're having trouble offensively, we can rely on our defense, and defense travels. So that's number one. Number two, I think the way that we've been moving the ball. You know, we've had a high assist rate. We've been able to play inline to inline to get to second and third actions. The ball's been finding the right shot on the floor, and that's important for us. We got to make defenses work. We've got to play inline to inline. We can't let the ball get stuck. That's when we're at our best, and I think we've really begun to find that connectivity on both ends.
Obviously, the first matchup was different with CC playing, but what did you take away from that one that you're looking to replicate again and also adjust?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's a really good team, and we've got to make sure our attention to detail from a personnel standpoint is high. We can't allow their players to get to their comfort zones. We've got to make them hit tough shots, and we got to live with those tough shots. And they're a really solid defensive team. I mean, they're high level on the defensive end of the floor, so we've got to be patient. We've got to make sure that we understand, what we're looking for on the offensive end of the floor. We can't over-penetrate. We've got to allow the ball, again, to find the right shot. But our passes have to be on time, on target, because they make you pay if they don't. They've got great length. They've got great athleticism, and they come at you from a lot of different angles. So we've got to do a good job of making sure that our attention to detail on both ends is there.
Caitlin obviously came in today and practiced close. Just how is her recovery going, and how close do you think she's getting to a return? Yeah, I mean, we have updates, and our recovery's going well. It's just, I think, for us staying the course and making sure that we're really diligent about each step that we take, and that we don't have setbacks, and that we're patient with it. I know she wants to be out here on the floor, and we want her out here on the floor, but making sure that she's ready is the most important thing. I still don't know how far we are. We're going to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and go from there.
Coach, what's impressed you about what Ari McDonald's been able to come in and do, and how she's been able to impact the team, especially without Caitlin on the floor? Yeah,
I think first and foremost, she's a student of the game. Her ability to come in and know the offense, study the offense, was big for us. You feel comfortable putting the ball in her hands because she did her homework. I think that her speed, we don't have anybody with her kind of speed and ability to get downhill. That's important for us. We needed that. It gives us another playmaker, so we don't have to rely solely on Kelsey to be a playmaker. And she digs in and sets the tone for us on the defensive end of the floor. And so I think she's fit perfectly with what we want to do and how we want to play on both ends.
The Indiana Fever went into Seattle and emerged with yet another gutsy win, this time surviving a furious late run by the Storm. And make no mistake, this wasn't a clean finish. It was a test of grit, poise, and growth. Natasha Howard's soundbite, voiceover style. Every win ain't gonna be pretty, but we kept our composure, Natasha Howard said after the game. Seattle made that 11-0 run late, but we stuck together. We talked, we adjusted, and we just moved on to the next play. Howard, the veteran presence on this young Fever team, knows what that type of resolve takes. The league doesn't give you anything easy, especially on the road, and especially in Seattle. Sophie Cunningham echoed that same energy, pointing to just how far this team has come. If this game happened back in May or June, I don't know if we pull it out, she said. We were just too inconsistent earlier in the season. But now we trust each other. We know how to win, even when things aren't going right. That trust, that consistency, and that mental growth, it's all come together for Indiana, and this latest win is proof of just how dangerous they're becoming. We didn't panic. We knew they'd be hungry after that loss to LA. But this isn't about them, it's about our standard. We stacked another day. Even with Kelsey Mitchell a bit off, she still facilitated and found ways to help. That's what great players do. And that's what teams with real depth are built for. Another highlight from the night? The undeniable presence of Dominique Malona. Everything, she just doesn't show up on the stat sheet, Coach White said. But her confidence is growing. She's demanding the ball, she's aggressive, and she's starting to understand where her spots are. Her length, her timing, her growth, it's all been on display. And while she's still raw, Malona is becoming a serious matchup problem, and one the WNBA will have to reckon with soon. Stephanie White press reaction, coach segment. Head coach Stephanie White, calm as ever, saw the whole thing unfold from the sideline. And to her, this game showed growth, mental and tactical. We stayed even, she said. We didn't get too high, we didn't get too low. That's maturity. And that's something we didn't have earlier this season. She applauded her team's ability to respond to adversity, especially against a veteran Storm squad that knows how to close out games. They made plays when they needed to, White admitted. But we did too. That's what mattered. Winning streak history and team depth. This win also tied the longest Indiana Fever winning streak since the Tamika Catchings era. And the fact they're doing it without their star, Caitlin Clark, makes it even more impressive. I think it says a lot about our group, Coach White said. We've got a deep team. Veterans who understand how to navigate tough stretches. Young players gaining confidence. Nobody's afraid to step up and make the big play, offensively or defensively. That unselfishness, players stepping up when others are struggling, has become the team's identity. It's why they're climbing the standings. It's why they're finding wins that once would have slipped away. White also had high praise for Aaliyah Boston, calling her the rock of the team. She's grown so much, the coach said. She used to play mostly on the low block in college. Now she's a facilitator, a hub on offense, and she's more versatile defensively than ever before. That development has been critical. Even when defenses key in on Boston and take away her scoring, she adapts, finds open teammates, and makes the right play. Her basketball IQ is through the roof, White added. Everyone trusts her. She's our backbone. But the finish, it had everyone sweating, including Coach White. My stomach was doing flips, she admitted, reacting to Seattle's multiple chances in the last 30 seconds. They executed well. We didn't communicate as well as we needed to. We were trying to foul to prevent a clean look but didn't get the call, or didn't foul enough. Ultimately, the shots didn't fall for Seattle, and Indiana escaped with the win. Sometimes, you need a little luck. But this wasn't a lucky win. It was earned through trust, growth, and staying composed when it mattered most. So what did we learn from this one? This isn't the same Indiana Fever team from earlier in the season. This is a team that's battle-tested, that knows how to survive the storm, literally and figuratively. Whether it's Natasha Howard anchoring the front court, Sophie Cunningham knocking down clutch shots, or Aaliyah Boston calmly making the right play, this team is clicking. And all of this, without Caitlin Clark on the court. This stretch, it's proof that the Fever aren't just riding one star. They're building something bigger, something scarier. With Coach Stephanie White keeping the group focused, players finding confidence in their roles, and veterans setting the tone, the Fever are stacking wins and stacking belief. And as the playoff race heats up, don't count them out, because this team just proved they know how to weather any run, survive any storm, and still come out with the W.
You guys survived that, I think it was an 11-0 run by Seattle in the final 5 minutes. Just kind of how gutsy was that to pull that out?
It was very gutsy, every win ain't gonna be pretty. So I'm happy that we kept our composure even though Seattle went on an 11-0 run. We've been through situations like that, but at the end of the day we just stayed together and we talked about it and we moved on to the next play.
I also think it shows the growth that we've had as a team, because early in the season we were just so inconsistent, and if teams were to do that, we would normally lose those games, but it just shows that we're getting closer, we're trusting each other, and I think that's the biggest part, is trusting and knowing that we can win those games even if they go on runs.
To your point about the consistency,
yeah.
There's been a lot of ups and downs in the WNBA this season.
Mm-hmm.
To take care of business in a winning streak like this, what does that sort of say about how this team's come together?
Yeah, Seattle's a great team, great team, and it's hard to play here. And so we knew that. We knew that they just came off kind of a bad loss against LA. And so they were hungry for a win. But for us, it's not about other teams. It's about our standard. It's about stacking the days. And I think that where our mental's at as a team and as individuals, we're in a really good spot. And, it's not going to be easy moving forward. But I think today we stayed true to the scout. We trusted the offense. Kelsey has been having a hell of a season. She was a little bit off, but she facilitated for us offensively down the stretch, and it just shows that everyone has something to give, even if your scoring's not going to be there. But I don't know, I'm just proud of our team, and I'm proud that we stacked today.
Easy.
Woo!
Easy peasy, thank you guys.
Sophie talked about how if this was May or June, you guys might not have been able to pull out this game, especially with Seattle's 11-0 run. Just what does it say to the growth the team has had and how they're able to kind of find a little bit of consistency in this game?
I think it says a lot. They know one another a little bit better now. We're maturing in how we handle situations and how we handle runs. We stayed neutral We didn't get too high. We didn't get too low. Like, look, this league is tough, and teams are going to make runs. And this is a veteran team in Seattle who understands the ebbs and flows of a game and made plays when they needed to make plays. And I was proud of our group for how we stayed, not just together, because we always stay together, but how we stayed even. And we came down and we went to the next play. We made some big plays in key moments that allowed us to win the ball game.
I think there was one last year, but I think this ties the longest winning streak since like the catch era. What does it say to be able to do that without Caitlin?
I think it says a lot about this group. I mean, we've got a deep team. We've got a great mix of veterans who have been in this league and who understand the ebbs and flows and who understand that injuries are a part of it, and young players who continue to grow in their role, continue to gain confidence. I think I said it early when C was out the very first time. While we don't like it, sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise because everybody else finds themselves, right? And no one is afraid to make the big play, offensively or defensively. And so I think it's just, we got a really good group that's unselfish, that want to win, that play well together and for each other. And when one person doesn't have it, somebody else does. And I think it makes this really, really difficult to scout when that happens.
Will you talk about how the team felt Dominique Malonga's presence today? Everything she did doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but would you talk about how you guys felt her presence? Yeah,
I mean, certainly she's grown since the last time we played them. Her confidence, her sense of urgency might not be the right word, but just demanding the ball, aggressive when she gets it, hunting opportunities to get to her spots, and I think she did a great job of that. She's a tough cover because of her length. She's getting stronger, you can tell that, and doing a great job of understanding where she's going to get her touches. So she was definitely a challenge for us. And that's a young player that's just going to continue to grow and continue to get better, and she's going to be a force that's not going to be fun to reckon with throughout the course of her WNBA career.
You had a player not similar to Dominique, but Boston, and that took a moment to kind of grow and get her feet under her in the league. When you talk about Boston's development for your team, how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, AB's been huge for us. She's really been the key. She came into this league predominantly playing on the low block, getting a lot of post touches. When she was in college and her rookie year, and then last year, her first year with Caitlin, playing a lot in the two-man, and then this year we're asking her to be a facilitator as well, and a hub for us on the offensive end of the floor, while being more versatile on the defensive end than she probably has ever been, and she's just continued to step up to the challenge and grow and be better. She's really the rock of our team. She's even keeled, she's high IQ. Everybody trusts her on both ends of the floor, and she's our backbone, and she's been tremendous for us all year long. And you see when teams key on her defensively and they're not allowing her to get scores, she finds the open player and she makes the right play, and that's huge for us.
What do you think on the sidelines that Seattle had multiple looks at the Titans right in the last 30 seconds?
Yeah, my stomach was doing flips there. I felt like they did a really good job of executing. We didn't do quite as good a job of anticipating action and communicating screens. We got fortunate that they didn't fall. The last possession that Gabby's look, we were trying to take a foul. In that situation, so that we wouldn't give them another look. It didn't get called or didn't foul her enough, I don't know, but we tried to minimize those opportunities, but I thought their execution was really good.